Let me say that it is very interesting as we look at this summer that has been inundated in the media with police cases, many of which I've been involved with. I, in fact, just landed from Cincinnati, where last night I was in Beaver Creek, where a young man has been killed by police who they claimed was vanishing a gun at people in a Walmart store. The gun ended up being a BB gun. And I was scheduled to speak at Central State University last night anyway, and I did, which is near Beaver Creek. We dealt with that case. But it was interesting when I received a call, and unlike many of the tabloids that report in the city, National Action Network or I never get involved in cases unless we're called by the victim. The overall image that we're given is that we run into cases that make big media. The fact is that most of the cases we got involved in, we made the media come. There was no media. So when I got the call from the Staten Island chair of National Action Network, Cynthia Davis, about Eric Garner, and we responded to it and talked to his mother and then his widow, and got involved. We were in the second week of organizing and trying to mobilize support for Eric Garner when I got the call from the father of Michael Brown in Ferguson, Missouri. And I'd never heard of Ferguson, had no idea what it was. But when the grandfather, explained to me that his grandson had laid out there 4.5 hours, that is what compelled us to go in. And we went in before the violence, and when the violence came, of course, it became a national story because of the militarization. But what was common to me about both situations that I don't think anyone has looked at is both the Garner case and the Michael Brown case in Ferguson, which are probably the most noted of the summer. Both of them were policing on low-level crimes. You got to deal with the fact that Eric Garner, at worst, was accused of selling Lucy cigarettes. And Michael Brown, at worst, was supposed to have taken some cigarillos out of a convenience store. So I think that one of the things that has compounded the outrage is that not only do you have loss of life and questionable behavior, it's over some cigarillos or some Lucy's. Now, the thing that also leads toward further polarization, in my judgment, is that in both cases, men unarmed are dead. There's no question there's a life extenuating circumstance here because there's no gun here. There's no question, and in all the years that I've been involved, we've had to debate cases where the police said, I thought my life was in danger. There's no question in either case that the policeman's life was in danger. They did not say in Ghana they thought their life was in danger. There's a video that clearly shows there was no threat. And in fact, on the video, we hear Gardner say 11 times, I can't breathe, and the policeman still holds him in the chokehold. With policemen surrounding him, none of which saying, that's against policy, that's illegal, let him go. Nobody stopped him. In the Michael Brown case, there's a question of whether or not there's a struggle for a gun. It is beyond my imagination to see why, if a kid had taken some cigarillos out of a convenience store, which at worst would have been a summons, that he would say, let's go for an 8 misdemeanor and grab a cop's gun and shoot him. I just don't understand the logic of that. But that's the policeman's alleged story. But even then, after he didn't get the gun goes off and shoots him, they say that he then lunges at a cop that now has a gun and the cop shoots him 6 times. Doesn't make sense. 7 witnesses, including 2 construction workers who are white, say that didn't happen. But my point is that all of this is around aggressive policing of low-level crime. None of these killings, either one of these 2, are around apprehending a gun or anything of danger from someone. This is on low-level policing. And I think that part of what we have raised is that we cannot have aggressive policing that is targeted. Now, I heard, as the professor outlined, about the level of crime going down, and it was mixed, and he would lean to yes. But part of what I would enter into that discussion is that we recently saw, even I think it was the Daily News exposed, that even in areas where it is majority white, the majority of the people stopped and summons the black. So it is not even just areas where the crime is most concentrated. On the Upper East Side, where blacks and Latinos are in single digits of the population, they're the majority of the people stopped and summoned. So it's not targeted by areas. And what we've been saying to the NYPD is that the unsaid underlying problem is racial profiling. And I agree with him wholeheartedly that the beneficiaries of having crime stop is blacks and Latinos who suffer from it most. But we also cannot be subjected to being profiled as the price we must pay to keep crime down. There must be, and I would argue there is, ways that you can keep crime down and have the cooperation of the community without saying that the price you pay for keeping crime down is you check your civil liberties in at the door and also subject yourself to a racially profiling police department. The thing that is very interesting to me is that with all of the circumstances that we've seen, black community, Latino community leaders, including me, have rallied around gun control. I've done gun back programs with Ray Kelly. We've done a lot of things with both the Bloomberg and de Blasio administration. Giuliani and I were not on speaking terms, but his successors, all of us worked around crime. We've said that people that are wrong in our community need to be removed because they are victimizing us. But I think one of the things that adds to the polarization in the city is there is not one case where a policeman has been accused of a crime that the police unions in this city say we don't support the cop. Every case, they will say the policeman is right, even if we say the community is not with the criminal. Every case, they demonize us for questioning the cop. And we become the polarizers. Now, the facts don't even matter. Most people don't know. I don't think we had a larger movement other than Diallo and Luima than we had around Sean Bell. And 2 of the 3 cops we marched on were black. But I was still called a racist. These were black cops that killed Sean Bell. And the defense in court of one of the defense attorneys was Sean Bell was a bad black, my cop was a good black. But we're racist. And the language and the vehemence of the police unions, who I think I respect has to support their members. But I think if the media was fair, they would be saying, wait a minute. One, they can't be racist. And second, do you ever think a policeman is ever wrong? Just take this summer. We had a lady beat unarmed on the freeway in Los Angeles on video. We have Michael Brown. We have the Beaver Creek case with the man in the Walmart store with the BB gun. We have Eric Garner. We have another case just last night in Savannah, Georgia. All of these cases are automatically the police's record. And if we dare raise a question, mind you, all we said in all of these cases is we want the federal government to come in and investigate. Oh, they're polarizing, they're anti-police, it's going to lead to anarchy.